Reunions become extra special when it's an animal seeing a human years after they've been apart. After all, there's nothing purer than a bond between an animal and its owner. Sonia the bear is finally reunited with her caretaker. Seeing the man who raised her after so many years rolled back all the years and turned her into a playful cub once again. Mama's life is slowly ending. At 59 years of age, she has lived and seen a lot, but she never forgot one special human. The biologist Jan van Hoof, who took care of Mama for decades. Their bittersweet reunion can move the hardest of hearts. When you're a Marine, true friendships are rare, which is why this veteran wouldn't let his canine friend go. They worked together for 3 years but had to separate. 2 years later, Attila the canine had to retire and Sergeant Varela was there to adopt him. This kangaroo accidentally jumped into a freezing river. But while it resisted the rescuers' attempts to get it out at first, it was all good once they reached the shore. In fact, the kangaroo even shook everyone's hand to thank them. This German shepherd named Psycho was still a pup when its owner joined the military. When she returned years later though, Psycho didn't recognise her at all. It was utter confusion for a few seconds as the dog tried to make sense of why the stranger felt familiar. And then, after a few sniffs, it finally clicked. The best friends had been reunited once again.
It's like, where you being, Daddy? Where you being?
Once you're nice to an animal, you have a friend for life. Despite the stereotype, donkeys have sharp memories and remember the humans they love. The young girl in the foal had grown up together. They have a strong bond. She'd been away so long, the donkey almost can't believe the reunion is happening. This woman's finally been reunited with her dog, who was stolen from her and sold 2 years ago. The dog had been with her through her cancer recovery, but it was extremely hard to get it back from its new family. Thankfully, it all worked out, and they're now best friends again. This camel was separated from its herd and was lost in the desert for days. When it finally saw its owner again, however, not only did it remember him amongst a group of people, but it also refused to let him go. Usually, 10 days fly by like nothing, but not for this dog. His dad went on a business trip and this pooch missed him more every day. He insisted on going to the airport too. The happiness this doggo felt couldn't be contained in his small body. Wolves aren't exactly known as the friendliest of animals, and yet, when this couple returned to visit the wolf pack they'd rescued and released a few years ago, they all turned into cute pups. They just couldn't hold back their excitement. This Labrador braved something that'd scare most humans. Jack had to get surgery to have a lump removed from his neck, but a warm hug from his dad was all he needed to feel better. And the best part, he was back home just in time for Christmas too. This man rescued a severely injured spoonbill, fed it until it was healthy enough to fly again, and put it into a sanctuary with others of its kind. And yet, when he returned to visit the bird months later, it still recognised him and told him about all the adventures it had been on. This woman rescued these lions when they were just little cubs and delivered them to a sanctuary. But the moment they're reunited with their old friend, these massive beasts turn into cuddly kittens. Damien Aspinall went back to Africa to see his best friend, Quibi the gorilla. He raised Quibi from an infant and released him into the wilderness when he turned 5. But, despite being a big and strong gorilla, Quibi clearly missed Damien a lot. This herd of elephants has just been reunited with their caretaker after spending 14 months apart. He rescued them from a scared and abandoned state years ago, and it's safe to say they all absolutely adore him. Imagine living far from your family, with no idea of where they could be. This was Paquita's life for 2 painful years, until, miraculously, her human found her again through Facebook. Paquita was definitely cautious at first, but how could she forget her best friend? She finally got all the affection she craved at the shelter. Losing your dog is every owner's worst nightmare, but this family never gave up, which is why this 10-year-old boy was finally reunited with his beloved pit bull Bruiser. They spent 2 painful years apart. This was definitely the best surprise of this boy's life. This dog has just been reunited with her owner after 2 years apart, and it's so excited to see her that it actually faints with overwhelming joy. Though, to be fair, that's like 14 years in dog years, so we don't blame the little guy. Arthur the horse had been away from his family for 4 years due to his sports career, but his original owner has now brought him back to what is a big family reunion. They're best friends again within seconds, and it's almost as if he'd never left.
This is so much more deep than I thought possible.
Brian's dog saved him when he had a stroke, and now they're finally reunited again. Brian, who rescued her from the shelter when she was just a pup, so she's just returning the favour. Emma the hippo can't contain her excitement after being reunited with her rescuer. She was found stuck in a drain pipe when she was only a few weeks old. This is not a dog. It's a lizard that's just acting like one after being reunited with its owner. Man's second best friend, maybe?
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
7 months is a long time to be away from your BFF, and for these furry friends, it must have felt like forever. Shiloh couldn't forget his bestie because of their unbreakable bond. A hug attack was long overdue. After his wife passed away, this man moved in with his daughter. Unfortunately, his beloved pup Ellie couldn't come with him. She remained unadopted for 1.5 years in a shelter. But Dad never forgot about her. He checked on her often, and when things got better, he was overjoyed to have the reunion he dreamed of. Never underestimate a cat's homing instincts. This Reddit user was fraught with anxiety because her indoor cat had escaped. 12 hours later, she meets a guest she welcomes with happy hugs. Oliver had been close to her home the entire time. This man has just found his dog in the street by chance. He'd lost it 3 years ago and didn't have any hope of ever finding it again. The dog is overwhelmed with happiness. What a heartwarming sight. Linda Kebner returned to see 2 chimpanzees she rescued 25 years ago. She thought they wouldn't recognize her after all this time, but to her surprise, not only did they remember her, but they actually climbed all the way down to give her a big hug. As soon as its best friend returned, this goose ran straight into her arms. They're inseparable. Xander, the capuchin monkey's owner, had left him with a friend for a week. The minute he sees her return, though, Xander can't help but scream with joy. This fisherman rescued and fed Din Din the penguin, who'd washed up on the shore, barely alive and covered in oil. And now, Dindin swims 5,000 miles every year to visit his saviour and thank him for his kindness. Alright, let us pull up some more videos you do not want to miss out on. Consider subscribing and we'll see you in the next one.